No, I think we go into every year trying to build a foundation with the offensive line. But again, I think they're working hard. They're really dialed into what we want to try to do. And along with the foundation of them working on their fundamentals, we really want to develop, and that's what's good about practicing against our defense because they give us so many different things. Offensively, we want to kind of develop a shared kind of situational awareness of what we want this to look like and how we want to play. And it obviously starts up front.
Now they've got a little longer look at Rashad Hill for what have
Right.
you liked about him? How
Well, he certainly benefited from more reps than we thought he would get against our really frontline guys on defense, and he's making steady progress. We really like, the path that he's on, and I think we have more. I think we have more than a month before we play New Orleans. There's a lot of water that's got to run under the bridge, but we see steady progress in him, and he's certainly a big body with long arms and a guy that has a chance to be a good player.
is the size the main thing with him that kind of drew you guys to him in the first place?
No, I think he has a general skill set, and he kind of came in early as a young developmental player, and then we saw some of the things he could do physically, and then you say, well, that's a good guy to work for. If he was 5'8" and had really short arms, then I don't know, but
How much have you been experimenting with alternate guard?
I think both of our centers are getting guard work, so it's fair to say.
How do you want to see things play out in the preseason with those center and right guard positions? I mean, do you want to look at each combination one game, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah, I think you include the preseason games with the practice time, and so we're constantly going through that. And really, all three centers, the guys, Zach Caron's in there doing a good job as well. But no, we kind of lump all that together. Certainly, when we put the pads on and go play in a game, that gets a little bit more emphasis because it's a game situation. But again, we got a month to go, and we like the path that both of those or all three of those centers are on right now.
So do you imagine that they would get in one game they would get some reps at center and some at guard, or how do
Possibly, possibly.
Is that an emphasis that you want all your centers to at some point take part? You just happen to have people who are capable of playing both of those positions?
Yeah, here's what ends up happening is you develop a starting five, and then typically you take seven to the game. So you got to have a guy that can be primarily an inside guy or a backup center guard. So until you become a Hall of Fame starter at a position where that's your position, if you're the say sixth guy and you're the inside kind of rotational guy, you got to do both. And then you always have a guy that can play tackle and maybe guard. And then so in the event that you have injuries, and we had a lot of practice at it last year, those guys slide in and do what they have to do.
Brett, is there something you're looking for though, like pity-wise or litmus test for when you're at center? Like, there's always
Yeah,
sometimes you said that
sure.
they have to have that special something there
Right.
other than that right guard.
No, I think everything from the inside out tends to be more vocal, and certainly the center and the quarterback direct things. So we feel like they're both very vocal. They both have got a really good grasp of what we want to do, and we're just continuing to work on the details of it. And we sort of referred to it. You can't be a slow blinker. You got to make a good decision and roll with it. Don't. And then if Sam doesn't like it, he can trump it, but go with it. And then we'll all run off the cliff together. But the center has to be able to do that. So if you're a guy that's indecisive, or you're a little bit kind of a slow blinker, that's not a spot for you. But I think the two guys we're talking about, Pat and Nick, are both fast blinkers.
We know Boone is an alpha dog, likes to kind of show that publicly and probably in the room. Who else is emerging? Maybe just number two.
I think they all exert what they are as leaders in their own special way. In order to be a leader, you just got to have great courage and compete. You don't have to do anything extraordinary, or sometimes the noisiest guys in the room are the ones that got the longest way to go. But I would say that that group is coming together well, and they find a way to lead each other.
athletically, what do you look for in differences between center and guard?
Well, it's center. We just talked about center for a moment here, and then at guard, certainly you're gonna get singled up on a three technique. You then have to work in conjunction with a tackle, passing off twists, and some of the zone scheme stuff is the same. You're on the front side or the back side of it, so that's primarily it.
Do you like the way the screen game is shaping up so far?
Getting better. I think we put a lot of emphasis on it. But again, there's screens are plays of deception, and so they got to sort of think you're doing something else when you hit them, and then it's just like all the elements of offense. You try to work on it. I don't know. Some days they look good. Some days,
Do players approach today's players approach their free time and say training camp differently than years ago?
I don't know. I mean, that's a better question for them. I just think we're living in a society now where there's more of a veer toward fitness and doing the right thing with their bodies. So I see guys that are really on their off time, instead of doing something that may take away from that, they're doing a good job of getting the rest and hydrating and getting treatment. And these guys all, for the most part, do an excellent job of taking care of themselves. And I think their free time is no different.
I guess the question for you would be, like in the old days, if guys breaking curfew coming in, and coaches probably don't have to make a big deal with that anymore.
I think we have a low tolerance level for that, but we don't have to worry about that here. We got a bunch of good guys.
How has Bucky Hodges progressed as a run blocker?
Gotten better, and I think he still needs to improve. There's a lot of areas, we're asking him to do some things at the tight end position that he didn't do much of in college. He was extended. He was standing in a 2-point away. And Bucky's a tough guy. He showed up well in the red zone in terms of having a feel for getting open, which is good. And he'll stick it in there. Now it's just a matter of tying that courage to do it with the fundamentals of, the footwork or the fit and then the finish. And I think he's working on that and making steady progress.
Danny Isadora, how's he looking? He looks pretty well there.
Yeah, Danny's doing well. He's competing. You saw he got in there with the first unit a little bit. And again, the important thing for us is, as you know, we're really good up front on defense. And so for us to blend some of those guys we're developing into the ones, it's a way for us to see them against our better players. And I think he held up and did a decent job. And again, we got a month and a couple days, so he's just got to keep climbing with that development.
What stood out about Michael Floyd? Was there anything that surprised you about him?
Not really. We were certainly, as offensive coaches, excited when he became a part of our team. We've watched him be a really good player for a lot of years, so we kind of knew that. I think the thing that I'm seeing now as compared to the spring is his just physical presence out there. He's a big physical guy. I mean, he's a full-grown man playing receiver, and I think that shows up on the practice field. He can make contested catches, but yet you've seen him do a decent job at times of getting behind the corners, which, is a good thing. So we like what we've seen.